butts and knees. Is it already over? Is it already over? Get your tickets to the circus show. If you don't, then you'll never know. Take a stand while you have the time. Drown your fear and keep hope alive. Be the change that you want to see. Be the wrench inside the machine. Is it already over? Is it already over? I don't think it's over.
Are you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At cspoa.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever. Visit cspoa.org and join the Sheriff's Citizens Posse today. Make a difference. Stand for freedom. That's cspoa.org. Your country, your fight, your future.
All right, everybody, we are coming in. Welcome to Small Town Underground Wednesday night show. This is our regular show. Glad to be back and be back in the live stream. If you're here, the Facebook will not let me share it to followers. I think I've already used my followers up too much. So you can continue to share this, get it out to groups, because we have a very special guest tonight, Mr. Richard Mack, Sheriff Mack. A lot of you people know about Sheriff Mack, and everybody's kind of excited he's here. So we're going to welcome him to the show here in just a second. So help me share this out to groups, and we are live tonight. We will be doing comments out here, and we are running into a little bit of bad weather. So if anything should happen, of course, we will be here, and we'll have the whole show because we're recording it. So, Sheriff, I'm going to go ahead and read some of your bio real quick so that people that may not be familiar with you, we'll give you some background. So you were the former sheriff of Graham County, Arizona. You served in law enforcement for 20 years. You started as a patrol officer, corporal, sergeant, undercover agent, school resource officer, detective, and specialized crimes against children. And in 1988, you were elected to the office of sheriff in your hometown, and you served such for 8 years. And you also graduated from the FBI Academy. Wow, that's a lot. And this is something we're going to get into. You became the first sheriff in American history to sue the federal government, and you took it all the way to the Supreme Court to win a landmark case against the government overreach during the Clinton administration, which is Mack Prince versus the U.S. case, and it was hailed as the most powerful 10th Amendment decision in USA history. And I cannot wait to hear about that. You were also named the NRA Law Officer of the Year and inducted to their Hall of Fame. You received the Cicero Award, the Samuel Adams Leadership Award, the Gun Owners of America Defender of the Second Amendment Award, woo, woo, and elected official of the year by the Arizona-New Mexico Coalition of Counties. And you are also, this is the big one, a lot of people know you from this, the founder and president of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. And I've heard a lot of good stuff about this. It's dedicated to the restoration of individual liberty and the protection of civil rights. You've done hundreds of training seminars of sheriff's police, public officials in every state. and in other countries. And you've been on all the major news shows, and here you are on Small Town Underground. So you also have been married for 50 years to your lovely wife, Dawn Mack, and you've got 5 children and 15 grandchildren. So that is an outstanding resume, sir. Welcome to the show.
Wow, that sounds impossible because I'm so young. How did I do all that?
That is you've been around the block, haven't you? You've done quite a bit of stuff. So
I should have several PhDs for the work that I've done and the education that I've received. I mean, how many people have won a case at the United States Supreme Court? How many small town sheriffs have ever done such a thing?
Right.
And it just, when you were reading that, I go, man, that was so impossible, Roy. I mean, it was just absolutely impossible. And you know as well as I do that miracles happen
right
when you're trying and you're listening. And I really like this part. When you heed the call, when we answer the call,
right,
that's when miracles happen. But when we sit on our butts and do nothing, no miracles. And God is the author of all miracles, and I praise his name for all of that you just read off.
Right.
I was just a tool in his hand,
right,
and that's what I always prayed for. I just prayed that I would be a tool in the Lord's hand for good.
Yes. You know, that's wonderful you say that. I think and now more than ever in our nation, we need those types of people. We cannot afford the luxury of sitting on our hands any longer and not getting involved, because I firmly believe that we're in a war in this country, whether you want to call it civil or culture. We've got we're headed in the wrong direction, even though that we're doing everything we can to right this ship. But we've got to have all hands on deck, sir. So you're absolutely
that is exactly correct. And that is the solution for America.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to get back to those basic fundamental principles that were the foundation of America.
Yeah.
The making of America was based on those fundamental principles of God, family, and country. And we have strayed so far away from that, that's really, and it's very indicative since 2 weeks ago,
mm-hmm.
when you and I were on the show with Antonio.
That's right.
When the assassination happened.
Yes.
And a very traumatic time for you, for me, for Antonio. It was a very sad day for America, but we've seen the reaction from the left, and that is the problem with America.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to come together as a country, and we've got to come together to restore our foundation. And the foundation of America is our God-given republic and our Constitution. And those two go hand in hand. And
100%.
I just want to quote the warning from Jefferson to us all.
Mm-hmm.
The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. In other words, we have to be active. We have to be involved. He wasn't talking to our politicians. He was talking to us.
That's right.
We, the people, the first 3 words of the Constitution. We have to be involved, or America will not survive. And we're seeing that every day now.
Wow. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, I started in this movement before I got kind of in the politics. We were all about the Second Amendment. We had a huge Second Amendment following before COVID. And we realized early on that we could not just leave it up to the legislators to protect our Second Amendment rights. If we did not get involved and constantly, like you said, stay vigilant, they were going to continue to let it slip further and further away.
Do you remember during COVID, several Democrats said, "Well, we've got to take guns away from the people." Then
yes,
we have a pandemic going on. Take the guns.
Absolutely.
I mean, they exploit any reason at all.
Yeah.
To disarm us. And the bottom line is, a friend would never disarm you.
That's right. I remember getting out of high school during Hurricane Katrina before I even understood what the Constitution, Second Amendment really was. And they were taking everybody's gun. They were going through and just, that's what they were focused on, was taking people's guns away. It's crazy. They'll use any excuse.
Yeah, and they beat up that lady because she wouldn't give hers up.
That's right.
Of course you beat up a 75-year-old woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's got to do what she's told. You know?
All right. So I want to start with you. I want to go back through a little of your history because you've done so much, and I really we'll start wherever you'd like. I'm very interested in getting kind of the backstory of your landmark case against the federal government. So can you kind of walk us through that and tell us what was going on and how you came to the Supreme Court over this?
Yeah, there's so many different facets that with each one of those facets that has their own little miracle, and sometimes they're not little. When I look back now, I said, "Man, that was huge." At the time, I thought it was just a little miracle, but so many different miracles happened, including the wife I married.
Right. Okay.
Not because we were such a choice couple. I mean, people have called us Ken and Barbie a bunch because she was this cute little blonde, beautiful blonde girl.
Right.
And I'm tall, dark, and okay looking, I guess. I don't know. I never thought I was good looking, but I get called tall, dark, and handsome.
You're
or I used
dapper.
to when I was young. But I played sports, and I played football and basketball and baseball and did very well in all three. And but when I met my wife, it was just another miracle because we should have never got married. One, I fell in love with her, and then I found out that she was only 16 when we met.
Gotcha.
But the first night we met, I told a buddy of mine, I'm going to marry that girl. He goes, "Do you even know her name?" And I said, her name's Dawn Beals. And he said, "Do you know how old she is?" I said, "No." And the next night we had a date, and I found out how old she was, and I couldn't believe it. But it was I was already convinced.
You were already there.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, she wasn't. She was just a cheerleader at Pima High School and just starting her junior year. So,
right.
But the worst thing about the whole relationship I had with her is that her brother ended up marrying my high school girlfriend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So now she's going to be my sister-in-law.
Awkward.
Yeah, it was very.
I can imagine.
And so just everything from a secular view is I shouldn't marry this girl.
Right. I got you.
But the confirmation that I had in my heart is that there was no question this girl was supposed to be my wife. And then I could tell you right now why. Because first of all, we got along really great. I mean, we've had our share of incidents but one is I've never hit a girl ever in my life. And
right.
I certainly didn't start with my wife. And, I really respected my mom, and I love my mom, and I love my wife, and it's been a great relationship. But what happened that I didn't know I was getting in a family that was very, very conservative and very constitutional.
Okay. All right.
Well, they started in on me as soon as we were dating.
Right.
They were teaching me the Constitution. They were teaching me about Patrick Henry and Dr. Joseph Warren, who fought at Bunker Hill, and he would have probably been president of the United States. He was very popular and very well liked, and he went on the front lines with the rest of the men. Wow. The courage of that man and the humility of that man. But yeah, he got killed at Bunker Hill. But they taught me so much, and I felt the spirit of freedom and of patriotism when they would talk to me about all of this. And I argued with them quite a bit, but I would look everything up. And then while I was a police officer, a lady ran a stop sign right in front of me. And I was in a marked car, and I'm going, why is this lady running a stop sign right in front of me? I mean, I'm just 10 feet from the intersection, and it's a 4-way stop. And I'm going, but I looked inside her car, and I saw about 6 kids looking like the Tasmanian devil.
Okay.
And it was just going hands, feet, crazy, right. rolling. And they were all fighting. And this lady was trying to settle her kids down, and she lost track of where she was on the road. And she ran this. And then when she's almost all the way through the intersection, she looks over and sees me, and she throws her hands up in the air like that off of her steering wheel. And she goes, like she's saying, what else could go wrong today?
Yeah.
So she immediately pulled over. I walked up to her. She had her license out the window, just
Ready to get it over with.
take it. Yeah. But she was really depressed and dejected. And she never said a word to me. I asked her just a couple of things, could I have your license and registration? And back then, I don't believe having insurance was required by law.
Probably not. Yeah.
This was 1982.
Okay.
Might have been, but I don't remember asking her for that. And so I'm just writing the ticket, and then right at the end of the ticket, the officer is to sign his serial number, and mine was 793. I was the third officer hired in 1979. So I was 793.
Gotcha.
And then I signed my name, and I paused. And I looked down at this dejected, depressed woman. I looked down at her snotty-nosed kids. I looked down at her dilapidated, cruddy old car. It was like a Nissan compact station wagon with primer gray showing through and bald tires. And it was obvious she couldn't have afforded this ticket, no matter how. It didn't matter how much it was. She couldn't afford it. And so then I asked myself 3 questions. And I said, Mac, is there anything you're doing here that's helping this family? Is there anything you're doing here that's making this a better place to live?
Wow.
And is there anything you're doing here that's honoring the badge you wear on your chest? Well, I knew the answer to all those questions. And now I'm as depressed as she is. I'm ashamed of myself.
Wow.
And I walked away with that ticket. I didn't give it to her. I drove to the police station. I tore it up, and I said, I want to know why we have police and why we do this all day long to the people that pay our salary.
Right.
And then I wanted to know why we had government. And while I was researching all of that, I ran smack in the face of the oath of office that I took when I graduated from the police academy. And I was going to quit my job.
Oh, wow.
But then my wife just kind of told me, why do you want to quit your job? And I said, because I'm a liar and a hypocrite. I took an oath that I had no intention of keeping.
Right.
And she goes, well, you know the gospel. You don't have to quit your job. Just quit being a liar and a hypocrite. And I go, oh yeah, repentance. Why didn't I think of that? So I did. I repented, and I started studying the Constitution, and I started studying the Founding Fathers. And then at Provo Police Department, this was in Utah, Provo Police Department had a seminar announcement in the briefing room. And it was titled, get this title, The Constitution for Law Enforcement Officers. And the instructor used to work in the FBI with my father. And his name was Dr. W. Cleon Skousen. And he gave us all, there's 240 cops at this training seminar at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. And while I was there, this instructor was just absolutely the best teacher I've ever had in my life. And on the second day, I took another oath. And I had an epiphany that all of this was true. And I was totally converted to it. And then I took another oath. And I said to myself, I will never be on the wrong side again. Well, do you remember that line, where that came from? So about 12 years later, my wife and I are watching Braveheart, and Robert the Bruce told that to his father when he betrayed William Wallace.
Right.
He said, he told his father the exact word for word. And that really touched me too. I love that movie.
Yeah. Wonderful.
It was a great documentary of liberty.
Yes.
And loved it. And so I turned to my wife and I said, Dawn, that's exactly what I said at that training with Dr. Skousen 12 years ago. And she goes, yeah, I remember you saying that to me.
Wow.
And so it all just fell into place. And then the craziest miracle in 1988, that's when I moved home and ran for sheriff.
Okay.
Well, I didn't want to do it. And my wife's parents kept calling me and her and telling us we had to move home and run for sheriff, or they were going to get a crooked sheriff, a corrupt sheriff in office, and they said he needs to move home. And every time and her dad cooled it, because I told him to leave me alone, that we didn't want to do it. My wife didn't want to do it. We were totally happy where we were. The church was right across the street. The school was just a block to the north where our kids went. So we didn't have to worry about taking our kids, put them on the bus or anything. They just walked to school every day. It was wonderful. We loved it. It was a beautiful area, mountains all around us.
Right.
And then my wife and I had the same epiphany the same day. And we kept walking around the house and just preoccupied. Mm-hmm. And finally I said, and I was in my uniform and I was a detective at the time. So I must have had a parade or a fair or something, or some public thing where I had to be in uniform. And I was. And I was just walking around in my uniform in my house. And finally I looked at her and I said, what are we doing right now? And she goes, I don't know. I go, well, what are you thinking? We keep bumping into each other, looking at each other like something's on our mind. What's on your mind? She goes, what's on your mind? And I said, I really feel that this is the last day I'm ever going to be wearing this uniform.
Wow.
And she goes, that's exactly what I think, because we're moving home to run for sheriff.
Wow.
And 2 weeks later, we moved home and ran for sheriff.
Wow, an amazing story.
And look, Roy, I had not been there for 12 years. I had never worked in law enforcement or never worked in government any time in my entire life in Arizona. And I come back and I said, hey, I've got lots of good police training. You remember me?
Right.
Hey, I'm Richie Mack. I played football. I'm Stafford High School all-star athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played a year of college at a community college of football and baseball. And my dad had a good name, and my wife's family had a good name. And so it all worked out.
Wow. And
the miracle happened that I won against the incumbent. And then 4 years later, I was reelected. And then in February of 1994, we had a Sheriff's Association meeting. There's only 15 sheriffs in Arizona.
Okay.
13 of us are at this meeting, and there's 3 strangers dressed in 3-piece suits at our meeting. And it turned out they were from the BATF. And they brought us a 25-page document and said, we're from the BATF. We're here on orders from Washington, D.C. And this document details your marching orders as to how you have to enforce the Brady Bill for the United States of America. And wow. I said, all of the sheriffs were really cussing, because there was a provision in there that said, if we failed to comply, they would arrest us, charge us a $10,000 fine or a year in prison or both.
Really?
And now the sheriffs were cussing up a storm, and some of them were throwing F-bombs. And these 3 guys were getting a little bit intimidated by it all. And they just said, well, you guys work it out, but the law's the law. And I said, you guys know we don't work for you.
That's right.
We don't work for you. You can't. I said, can you guys fire me? Can you fire any of these sheriffs here today? No. Can you hire me? Can you hire me? There's a good one. No. But Congress passed a law. He just said, Congress passed a law. I said, I don't care if they pass 500 laws.
We
don't work for you. We work for the people right here in the county, and we report only to them. And they're our only boss. 100%. And folks, all of you need to remember that.
Yes.
Your county sheriff is so crucial to you because you are his boss, and you need to have a relationship with him because he needs to know what you want him to do.
Right.
And if you want him to violate the Constitution, he can't.
That's
because
right.
he took an oath that he can't violate that. So you got to make sure you know the Constitution so you don't tell him to do anything unconstitutional.
That's right.
So we went from there.
Okay.
And then the second term is when, after that meeting, I decided I would sue the federal government.
Wow.
And there were a lot of miracles in that too. But when I told my wife, when I got home from that meeting, I told her what I was going to do. And I thought she would totally object. And I thought she'd say, look at everything we sacrificed for this job, and you're going to throw it away on some Don Quixote crusade? What's the matter with you? We have 5 children, and you want to expose them to the type of people you're going to be fighting? They're going to squash us like a pumpkin seed. You know, guess what? She must have been having a bad hair day or something. Because even now, she doesn't believe that she did it.
Right.
That she totally supported this. She did. And she said this: maybe now we know why you were supposed to be sheriff.
Wow.
And that really touched me. And 2 days later, my mom said the same thing. Because all of us knew it was such a miracle that I ever won.
Yeah.
And this lawsuit, by the way, cost me my 3rd election. And I didn't win at the Supreme Court until 8 months after I lost my election.
Wow. Okay.
And I was really upset. And my wife wasn't. She goes, look, we weren't looking for this job when we got this job. We're supposed to be doing something else. And since that time, I've written 8 books. And I've been to all 50 states, and I've done presentations in all 48. And I've done presentations also and interviews in Japan, Latin America, several different countries in Latin America, Canada, Australia, and and Great Britain.
Wow, that is.
And so we're just look at all of this. And I just got back today from Tampa, and I spoke there last night. Wow. And with some really good people. And just a month ago, I was at the Sheriff's Association, Florida Sheriff's Association conference, and I spoke at their conference. And I will say this about the work we do at CSPOA.
Okay. Yes.
It's not going fast enough for me. And I so pray every day that we were funded. And we've had people help with funding the last 15 years, no question. But I really wish we had $1 million or $2 million in the bank, and we could pull off all the training we want anytime we want, and have a national conference with about 1,500 sheriffs in attendance.
Absolutely.
And it just, I just run myself ragged going from state to state and meeting to meeting, and to me it's just not enough. And I had a billionaire that said he wanted to help me, and then he changed his mind and turned his back. Yeah, and this is after, get this, Roy. He said, I know God has brought us together. And I said, you know what? I've been praying that this would happen for the longest time. And then all of a sudden, he just up and quit us. And I said, did God tell you to quit us now? Did God change his mind that he did not bring us together? And he wouldn't answer me. He's never answered that question. I said, tell me what he said. I'll stop doing whatever it was that it made him change his mind.
Right.
But I said, I don't think he changed his mind. I think you've changed your mind.
Right.
So anyway, he left. And other people have stepped up, like a very good friend of mine, Rosemary. And 30 years ago, she got in trouble with some police, and they were checking her out. And I just spoke at a local high school where she was attending, and I didn't know her. But I saw her, and I stopped to help. And the police arrested a citizen who was also at our meeting because he was taking notes on his hand. And a lady cop arrested him for interfering with the officer. He was 50 feet from the officer. He never said a word to them, but he was arrested for it. And then Rosemary realized that him getting arrested saved her from getting arrested. And she didn't get arrested. And she's never had money. And she just gave a huge donation to us.
Wow.
And I said, Rosemary, you've never had money like this. She goes, well, I have a little bit now, and I want you to have it.
That's right.
Yeah, it really touches me. And when I get a donation of $100 or, somebody will send 1,000 here and there. And this lady just texted me or emailed me, and it showed her that she donated $100 on our PayPal account. And in the email, she said, I live on $700 a month. And I want you to have this. I love what you're doing.
Right.
and she attended that event last night in Tampa.
Wow.
And I really, to be honest with you, I really want to give it back to her.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I don't want
Well,
to offend her.
no,
But
I
it
mean,
was so touching. It brought tears to
mhm.
my eye when she told me that, because there's no way she can give up
Yeah,
1/7 of what she lives on. But I'm telling you, it's not for me.
right. Well, I
It's
mean,
for the work that I've been called to do.
absolutely, the work that you do. So, and we've got your website posted up here. So, please, anybody that is interested, go to www.cspoa.org. And if you can contribute tonight, contribute. If you were thinking about contributing to my show tonight, just go to cspoa.org and contribute. A lot of people don't understand, when we're looking at the left versus the right, and we've seen USAID and all these things, a lot of our hard-earned taxpayer money has been sort of laundered and funneled to forces that would go against the very
like Planned
essence.
Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood,
Yeah.
Antifa, these organizations that are meant to destroy the very essence of the things you're teaching. And when you're into conservatism and you're on that side of that left-right spectrum, there is not a lot of money out there, and you'll get these people that believe in the cause so much, and every penny counts. I can promise you
Well,
that.
and then let me tell you about the other miracles, though.
Sure.
Just because I'm suing the federal government doesn't mean this is going to the United States Supreme Court.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I never believed it was.
Gotcha.
But we prayed that it would. So when you did the introduction, you mentioned Mack Prince. Prince was the sheriff from
Yes.
Montana
Okay.
who filed right after I did.
All right.
And he and I ended up at the Supreme Court together.
And this was because of the Brady law, correct? Is that
Brady law, which was the first time in history where a gun control law required the sheriffs of the country to enforce it.
okay? Okay.
And so there were actually 5 Brady bills scheduled to be passed one year after another. Until after 5 years, the Second Amendment would have been completely destroyed. And because of our lawsuit, Brady bills 2, 3, 4, and 5 all failed. But Howard Metzenbaum from New York introduced Brady Bill 2 just 2 weeks after I filed. And at that time, I was by myself.
Wow.
Prince filed about 5 weeks after I did. And I was so thrilled that he did. But he and I lost because we were in the same circuit court of San Francisco, the Ninth Circuit. We lost. We got overturned.
Of course.
But the sheriff in Louisiana, Romero, and Sheriff Coog in Texas, they won at the Fifth Circuit in New Orleans.
Okay. Okay.
So now that guaranteed us a trip to the Supreme Court because there were conflicting rulings at the circuit court
Yes.
on the exact same case. And they had exact opposite rulings on both cases.
Right.
And my lawyers all said, the NRA was the lawyer for all the sheriffs, including me, but I had my own lawyer as well.
Right.
And I told the NRA, I said, I have to be independent on this case. I want my own lawyer. And they recommended a lawyer out in Tucson that I hired. I said, because I appreciate what you're doing for me. Don't get me wrong. I don't have the money for this case. And they did, and they provided most of the money.
Good.
But I said, I want to make sure that this remains my case and not the case of the NRA. And they understood, and they said, fine, we'll work with your lawyer. And they did, and it all turned out great. And he was friends with their lawyers anyway, so it worked out great. But I wanted to make sure that the lawyer was reporting to me and not the NRA.
Right.
And so Gun Owners of America really helped, Second Amendment Foundation, just about every gun rights group in the country really got behind this, and rightfully so, because it was gun control. And like I said, there were 4 other bills that were going to just piecemeal it. By the time 5 passed, the Second Amendment would be dead, was gone. Yeah. And so 7 sheriffs did more to save the Second Amendment than all the legislatures put together combined in the history of our country. And so,
It's amazing.
God bless the 7 sheriffs that did
Yes,
this.
God bless them. I mean, the Second Amendment seems pretty cut and dry to me when I read it, but it seems like
Oh, it
that the
is.
Second Amendment is one of the, well, of course, the First and Second are the most. They're constantly attacked, and that's how I got into this
Constantly
whole thing.
violated. And let me add something about the Second Amendment right there. The only skin in the game that the federal government has regarding the Second Amendment is to guarantee to every citizen to keep and bear arms.
That's right.
They don't have the right to form the BATF to monitor gun ownership nationwide. That they have no authority to do
Right.
that whatsoever. The only thing they can do is to guarantee to each of us that our right to keep and bear arms is never violated.
Right. Absolutely. I'm sure you might be familiar with the SAPA Act. Have you heard anything about the SAPA, the Second Amendment Protection Act?
Oh yeah.
So
of course.
absolutely, we've tried in Georgia to get this, and you would think in Georgia, the South Georgia, very red conservative, we can't get it to pass worth anything. We do have good sheriffs here. Our sheriff in this county and several counties around years ago when we were getting attacked on some draconian gun bills coming through. All of our sheriffs in these counties signed some proclamations for us saying that they would protect our Second Amendment rights.
There were over 550 sheriffs that did that proclamation, signed
Yes.
it together.
Yes.
Yes.
And we were able to get constitutional carry passed in this state. But again, to me, it's a bit ludicrous that we're even having to have this discussion when it comes to
I
the
know.
Second Amendment, and having to pass a SAPA Act. But
The Second Amendment guarantees your right to bear arms.
exactly.
The federal government doesn't get to say what kind of arms you get to carry.
That's right.
But I will say there's a little bit of a restriction because you can only have what you can keep and bear.
Right.
So no, you don't get an atomic weapon.
Right.
You don't get a tank. Maybe a bazooka. I don't know. You can keep and bear those, I guess.
Sure, I'd be all for that.
The whole thing is that you're allowed weapons of war.
Yeah.
Obviously that you could keep and bear. And so it's not up to the government to decide how much ammo you can have.
That's right.
What kind of a gun. You can't have an ugly, mean-looking gun, but you can have these guns. That's none of their damn business.
Is there even such thing as an assault rifle? That's the craziest narratives you see. And
Show me a weapon, a firearm that is not an assault weapon.
Exactly. And and the crazy thing about all this is, again, they continue to attack us on this, but it is designed for us to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government, right? And it's kind of
and with that, right next to that is it preserves that right and our right to rebel.
That's right, a form of militia. And I'm very into constitutional militias. I believe that militia has been kind of a word that's been dirtied up, and we've lost our community, our sense of our community and our family standing up. And it's something that we'd like to bring back,
But Roy, the Second Amendment says that. A well-regulated militia.
Yes. Well,
That's
I believe
the first part of the Second Amendment, folks.
And I
It's
think if
telling
we
you a well-regulated militia is what? Necessary to the security of a free state.
Yes. And I believe in your work. So I think that, and I've seen this in the last couple of years. I work closely with law enforcement. I have seen some of our law enforcement agencies kind of take a step back and say, oh, we need to re-examine our laws a little bit. We need to update. And I'm actually seeing that. And a part of that, I think, is because the community has sort of gotten off their butts and got into the involvement of politics and the way things work and said, hey, we want things right. So I'm seeing a positive impact in my area of that. But also, I'm also seeing that our laws, our justice system, our government doesn't seem to take the Constitution very seriously nowadays. Are you seeing that?
I've seen it my entire career.
Yeah.
My entire adult life. I absolutely have seen it. It's really what led me to the Constitution, because that day that I started looking at the oath of office, I said, who in government keeps this?
Right.
Who in government takes this oath seriously? It's just a ceremony. And so then I found out in my studies that the 6th article requires every public official in the states and in the federal government and to all swear an oath of allegiance to the Constitution.
Right.
It's by law that we enforce and obey the U.S. Constitution, and we swear to it that we will. And
Yes.
then, and yet, how many of us, how many peace officers in this country have ever read the Constitution?
Well, I've been to the Capitol several times, and I've been told by several lawmakers, if you come down to the Capitol and you start quoting the Constitution or even say anything about the Constitution, your legislators will laugh at you behind your back. And I found that appalling the first time I ever went down there.
They'll laugh at your face, too.
Yeah, they'll laugh at your face. So I want to tell you, so I am a member of the John Birch. I strongly believe in the Constitution, and we try to practice it, but I also want to be a little bit of devil's advocate, because I feel like in this particular moment in our lives, in our society, I feel like that the Constitution has been so far removed from everything that we're doing, and our society has become sort of degenerate. Sheriff Mack, how do you think that how do you think that we can even operate nowadays? Like, for example, you can go out on the street and somebody can have a knife and be wailing around. You can throw the Constitution up at them and they'll stab you. In other words, it's a societal problem that laws are only as good as the people that follow them. So, do you agree that our Constitution is just kind of being thrown out the window?
Oh yeah, it has, and it was by design.
Yeah,
this is no accident.
I agree.
It used to be Fabianistic, which is gradual encroachments, but they're no more. They're not silent anymore, and they're not gradual anymore.
That's right.
They're bold, right in our face,
out of the shadows. Yes,
they are, and it's a shame that we have allowed the American people have gone to sleep while this has been happening.
Yes,
and we've got to wake up, folks, because we can't vote for any more of these rhinos or these extremists, these leftist extremists. We've got to get more involved, and the people of New York have got to wake up.
Oh my Lord!
They're getting ready to vote for an out and out
socialist. Communist. Yeah, a communist socialist.
He is a communist, and folks, we fought 5 wars to stop communism.
Yeah,
and now now we're embracing. Yes. How far gone has America gotten?
Well, you look at the Trump administration.
We fought wars to stop it, and now we're embracing it politically with both arms.
Well, you look at the difference between, say, a Biden and Trump administration, where the Biden administration could just trample all over our constitutional rights. Doesn't matter what you did, and no outrage and nothing. But then you get something like the Trump administration who's trying to clean up a huge mess and doing everything they can, but yet this one side has to play by the rules, and then every time they try to do something, you have the left that turns right around and they throw up the Constitution in your face like, this is unconstitutional. It is such a divided society we're living in, and I just don't know what the answer is to get everything back in line.
Well, I know the answer. It's what Charlie Kirk told us to do. It's what God has told us to do. And saying the solution, saying the answer is easy. Implementing it and turning it all around is the difficult part that we're all going to have to be a part of. And that's why we've got to wake up. And we've got to go back to the basics. And we've got to return to our God-given republic and its Constitution.
Right.
If we return to the Constitution, we will find the solutions.
Yes.
We will be part of the solution. But if we continue to allow our country to slip away, and now we're not slipping anymore, it's 100 miles per hour downhill that we're doing it, and continue to recklessly destroy the political constitution that was supposed to hold us together, no one can tell what a horrible catastrophe awaits us.
Yes.
And it's right around the corner. And every day we're getting closer to that. And Trump bought us some time, because if we had President Kamala Harris in there, it would already be too late for America. And then the county sheriff would be 10 times more important.
Yes.
We still need all these constitutional sheriffs, but that would have been our absolute only the only answer and solution left.
Right.
And that's why we're still working and pushing for the constitutional sheriff movement,
Right.
because it's still going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and it is happening. But Trump he bought us a little time and bought us a little reprieve.
Yes, I do want to share an analogy with you, because I found this rather crazy to me, and this is how lawfare goes. But back in 2021 in my state, our governor passed a bill which was called the Leadership Committee's Bill, SB 221, and basically its purpose was to amend Georgia's ethics in government regarding campaign finance. And it basically, the provisions give them unlimited fundraising, and it allows them to take fundraising during the legislative session. There's a whole bill, and we're having a sort of a contested race here because our attorney general is now running for governor, and the lieutenant governor is. So this year, and you may have heard of this, our attorney general, Chris Carr, filed a federal lawsuit on Burt Jones's gubernatorial campaign regarding that SB 221, and it was dismissed. Okay, now I want you to just bear with me here. All right, so this bill allows high-ranking officials like the lieutenant governor to create these committees, and they can take all this money. They don't have to disclose where the money came from. But I want you to hear this: the U.S. District Judge Victoria Marie Calvert dismissed the case, ruling that Carr lacked standing because he sued Jones and his campaign for following state law rather than challenging the law's constitutionality directly. Now, you're talking about an attorney general who filed a federal lawsuit over something that he actually voted for and approved, was well with, and he argued it so poorly that even the judge said that this law is virtually unconstitutional. You should have argued that. My question is, how on earth do we even get these laws? How is our government, our legislators, able to pass these laws that are evidently unconstitutional in the first place? Where's our oversight?
Well, most of them are selfish, very self-absorbed, don't know a thing about the Constitution. What our politicians care about is their next donation and their next election.
Right.
That's all they care about. They do not care about the people. They do not care about civil rights. And it doesn't matter. I don't care who you are. The NAACP used to care about civil rights. They don't anymore. They're a branch. They're a branch of the Democrat Party.
Yes.
They're just part of the Democrat Party. And so I think you brought that up as really a good point. But the bottom line is we're all watching while our Constitution is being destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Folks, it's the foundation of America. I've never built anything in my life. I wouldn't know how to lay a brick or do cement or do drywall for a home or whatever. And I've never done any of that stuff. But I know damn well that if the foundation is destroyed, the rest of the building will fall.
Oh,
and that's what we're watching. We're watching the fall of America. Yeah. And folks, we can't just think Trump is going to fix everything.
That's right.
We've still got to fix everything and take back America county by county.
Yes. Yeah, I believe that's
really where it's at.
I believe the work that you're doing to help train up sheriffs and be proactive with them on the Constitution, we need to make it serious again.
Well, we train them to protect the civil rights of every person in their county.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to be able to sit through one of your seminars. I mean, it's great. We need this, folks. So you need to check out www.cspoa.org.
Our next one is in Washington State because they're destroying the office of sheriff there.
Oh, yes.
And we're going into the belly of the beast. I'd love you to be there.
Wow. I wish I could.
It looks like right now the first week in November.
Wow.
But we're still working out some details there.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. I've got a bounty hunt in Washington, but I don't know that I'll make it up there. So,
well, yeah, Mr. Mack goes to Washington, and I'm not Jimmy Stewart, and we're not going to Washington D.C. We're going to Washington State, and it is horrible.
I can imagine.
So anyway, folks, we need your help with that to fund that, and we also need each of you to become a member of the CSPOA posse.
Yes.
And that's all on our website that you were just talking about, cspoa.org. if you're getting any questions from any of your audience, I'd sure like to
Yeah. All right.
answer some of those.
Yes, sir. We're going to go right to comments here. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We've got Charles Stoker said, Sheriff Mack for president in 2028. What do you think, Sheriff Mack?
I'll be 73 in December, and that kind of would be getting in the way a little bit. But I'll tell you what, if you could convince my wife that that's something I should do, good luck.
Right. Yeah, there you go. I hear you. Sharon Holland, always a pleasure having Sharon. Sharon's with me every week. Thank you for being here. Christina Benjamin says, we need CSPOA conference in Georgia. Do you have anything coming up in Georgia?
No, but let's start planning one.
Okay. All right. You know,
get a hold of some of your sheriffs.
I will. I talked to two sheriffs today by message. Let them know.
Sheriff Johnson.
Okay.
And I think his name's Jay Johnson, Sheriff Jay Johnson.
Okay.
He's pretty solid with us, but there's a lot of good sheriffs in Georgia, and I think we'd get a good response from them. Okay. Or let's try to fund some of those guys to come to our Washington event.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I plan on taking this further. Absolutely. So, good to see you, Tony Smatter Chew, Lisa Adams, Noreen Canner. Good to see you. I hope your husband is doing well. We're praying for you and your husband.
Amen.
Denise Owens, good to see you. And Noreen says, when God calls, you go. He will guide you in all ways. So talk about the providence that you've seen through each step of your life. You know, that's amazing. So let's see here. Everybody's doing the American flags and a great American. Absolutely. And Noreen says, because we have too many rhinos down at the Capitol, they don't care about we the people. I think that's all part of getting off your tail and going down there and making them care for us. And I think we've got a big movement in Georgia that
look, if the Christian bloc,
yes,
gun owners and Christians, and they're usually one and the same.
Yes,
if they would get out and vote, we would win every election in every state and in the federal government as well.
Right, absolutely.
We have a huge voter bloc that really doesn't vote that much.
I know.
At least not enough.
Yes. And Charles Stoker says, we need Sheriff Mack in Georgia. And Noreen Kenner says, look at Minnesota, how far the date has fallen into Muslims. Ilhan Omar hates this country. Yeah, we talk about rhinos. You know, I was so mad the other day that we could not even get a censure from Ilhan Omar, and we had 4 Republicans that basically blocked that. I mean, this is how weak we are on the rhino side of things, and it tears me up. It's almost like we're the enablers. We keep enabling all of our rights to just keep on flooding into the hands of Marxists. It's ridiculous. Right. And Noreen says, Carr is a traitor to Georgia, never will be our governor. I don't see that happening. So. And then get a hold of Couch in Hall County. So, yeah, folks, look, this is a great opportunity to reach out to your sheriffs and let them know about CSPOA.org. Let them know about Sheriff Mack and see if we can't get something moving, because Sheriff Mack is right. Our Constitution is what keeps this nation, sets it apart from every other nation in this world, what makes America great, and we cannot let it slip, that we cannot let this foundation break. So we need more constitutional sheriffs and more people that know what the Constitution is. So, well, Sheriff Mack, I'm going to give you the last word before we exit. I always do, and I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Roy. Thank you. I love talking to the American people, the people there that you were just quoting, and I love that. And that's where our solution lies. Folks, look down in your hands. That's where the solution is.
Yes.
It's in our hands. We've just got to start acting. And I have a book called Are You a David? Mm-hmm. And that asks the question to every citizen and public official and every person in this country. Are you a David with the humility of a shepherd boy and the courage of a warrior? Mm. And David was asked to take on Goliath.
That's right.
Yes, my fight was against the Goliath, the Clintons. I sued the Clintons and lived to tell about it, folks. That's another miracle for you right there.
Absolutely.
But we have to be involved, folks. And I'm asking each of you to join us. become a member of our posse. It's $11 a month. That helps keep us funded. Can you imagine if we'd get 500 people tonight to join and we got $11 there? We could, from each person a month, we'd have our conference in Washington State funded.
Yes.
We don't have it funded yet, but we're going to make it happen.
That's right.
And we're praying to God, and we're asking the Christians of this country to help us. Okay. And so I'll close with this. The admonition of our founding fathers, the last line of the Declaration of Independence. It goes like this. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Folks, we must do the same today, just as Patrick Henry called it, the holy cause of liberty. Millions of Americans armed in the holy cause of liberty, he said. Folks, we must emulate the founders, and we must join together as we restore our Constitution as the supreme law of the land, as the law of the land, the rule of law. I'm asking each of you to become part of the solution. We're helping you with that. We hand you participation on a silver platter. We know this works, and we probably need to come back another time, and I could tell you the miracles of what the constitutional sheriffs have done all across this country. You mentioned one of the sheriffs standing and for the Second Amendment. Sheriffs in this country have saved the Second Amendment several times over. And that's what we want with the rest of the Constitution. So, folks, go to cspoa.org, cspoa.org. So you've got to know one thing. We formed that organization not for sheriffs or for cops. They need to be involved, yes. But it was for you. It was for the people. The first three words of the Constitution, we the people. Join us in this holy cause and be part of the solution.
Wow. Well, Sheriff Mack, we really appreciate you coming on the show. You are welcome anytime you would like on Small Town Underground. Second Amendment's my specialty, and I have a special place in my heart for my sheriff and all law enforcement. And I want to end by just saying I hope everybody out there says a prayer for law enforcement. You know, an ICE facility got attacked today, and our law enforcement, they work so hard and so tireless jobs, and they get painted in the worst possible light that you could imagine. And I know firsthand, a lot of people don't understand what kind of stress and situations that our law enforcement get put in on a daily basis. But I can promise you, if you were ever to put your feet in their shoes, you would understand how hard of a job that it is to protect our streets and our citizens. So I salute you, Sheriff Mack, and all of our sheriffs and law enforcement out there. And thanks again. And I want to remind everybody out there, the camp out is coming Saturday, September the 4th. I got some special stuff planned for the weekend in the discussion. And
what date did you say?
We're having a Patriot camp out on Saturday, October the 4th. Yes. Yeah, my viewers probably know that, but I got to plug it really quick. It's going to be a great, we got a bunch of good guests lined up. It's going to be an awesome time. And if you'll just stay on the line, I'm going to play the outro. And again, I appreciate you being here, sir.
Thank you.
Guys, we'll see you soon.